Hey, what's up guys? Books Nelson here, back with another video. I know it's been a long time and that was intentional. And before we get into the content, I want to discuss a few things right off the top. Number one, I took this break on purpose because I wanted to do something I hope everybody did. I wanted to let 2K24 go. There was so much negativity attached to 2K24. I didn't want to bring any of that into 25. I want, if the game is good, I want to be excited about it and enjoy it to the fullest capacity without bringing what happened last year into it. And more importantly, I want the same for you guys watching this channel. I don't want you guys having a lot of fun playing the game and me reminding you every week about what they did last year. We talked about all that stuff before, and if it happens again, you guys know that lizard cartoon is coming back, and I'm gonna give it to these guys as much as they deserve. But if the game is good, then I want us to just all enjoy a good basketball game. Ultimately, that's what we all hope for. That having been said, I want to address two things right off the top of this that are on the negative side. This whole video, we're just going to be analyzing and breaking down like we always do. But there are two negatives that I want to address. Number one, they did not talk about last year. And even though I want to move on from last year, and I know a great deal many of you want to move on from last year, the truth of it is, last year wasn't just purely bad design. It was them going back on what they promised throughout the year, right? So if you don't address that break of trust, then we are not going to trust you. So even though I'm going to analyze what's here and I'm going to play the game that comes, I think for myself and for a lot of you guys, there's going to be that feeling in the back of your head when you guys need to break open the piggy bank. Are you going to victimize the MyTeam community and do it again? When you don't address it and it's an elephant in the room, that's going to be on everybody's mind for a long time. And 2K, they haven't owned up to that. And so I can't blame the community if they want to fixate on the fact that, hey, you went against what you said before. Now we're supposed to believe you again. That's nonsense. And that's fair. That's totally fair. Number two. Okay, and this is about the content, but I want to highlight this one thing. As you guys know, I'm a big My Career player as well as MyTeam, right? Several characters, all purple plates, decent win record, all that stuff. So here's the reason we don't play Park anymore. I don't want to say nobody, but almost nobody plays Park. And the reason nobody plays Park is because of the theater, right? If you want to play 5v5, obviously you play Rec. If you want to play 3v3, you have three choices. You can go to the theater, where there's instantaneous matchmaking. You can go to the ranked pro-am, where there's instant matchmaking. Or you can go to the park, where you have to wait around all the time. For those of you who've been playing triple threat all this time, you've had the benefit of the instant matchmaking. You don't know what it's like to go to these GotNext spots and wait around for a game. So the problem with GotNext, I don't know how they're going to represent your rank and your win record, but if people can look at you and see your win record, if you're a good player, once you start, and not even if you're a good player, once you go on a win streak, people start dodging you and you pay for winning. And 2K has stubbornly never addressed this fact. And it's because they don't, and you know what, I'm not going to get into the reasons why. I don't want to break non-disclosure. But I will say this. 2K has never valued the player's time in the park. They value the experience of the park, of being out there and seeing the games and seeing other people play. But gamers want to get in a bunch of games as often as possible. We want to, gamers want to play games, right? Shocking. So the thing is, I'm not sure from reading this if there is a straight up triple threat that you just load into, or if you have to go into the park. If you have to go into the park, if this is the thing that you have to do, when it comes to the experience of hopping on and getting a quick game, this is a massive downgrade because you'll be forced to wait around for games. And I hope they address this. This is very easy to fix. All you would have to do is walk into the park, queue for a game, and then you could walk around and watch people playing. And as soon as you get a game queued up, you'd hop into your own game. You wouldn't have to worry about being out there that long. And if you want to take a break between games, you could walk around. There should be some queue for game feature on your phone or on the menu somewhere that you would be queuing the game and not physically waiting on the court. The physically waiting on the court thing should be something that's purely aesthetic that happens after you matchmake into the game. We don't actually literally need to be sitting around watching other people play, waiting to play. Nobody gets on a video game to watch other people play games. That's what Twitch is for. So that is, I'm letting you guys know right now, for a lot of people, especially those of you who are like, oh, you know, before I take the wife and kids out, I have an hour to myself. I want to get in some triple threat real quick. Or the homies hit you up, yo, let's go out to the triple threat and get our cards and go. And then y'all are sitting around courts. You will find you are doing a lot more waiting than you've ever done in this game, particularly if you're in America or Canada, where the matchmaking is you know, pretty fast, versus if you're, you know, in Europe or you know, Asia or something like that. So that having been said, without the feature, it's like, I think the idea of the having a park and all that stuff and triple threat and bringing that over to my team, I love that idea, but I wanted to bring that to you guys as a person who's familiar with that mode, to let you know that even if you're really excited about it, it's not all sunshine and rainbows, unless there is some kind of instantaneous matchmaking feature in addition to this part. Giving you the option. The way, it's funny because the community that usually had to suffer from this, the park community, they don't have to do this if they don't want to. They can either go to Pro-Am if they're like really hardcore players. They can go to Ante-Up. Actually, I didn't bring up Ante-Up. They can go to Ante-Up and get games a little faster because everybody's trying to win their VC and play certain comp, or they can go to the theater. Whereas if this is the only option, if the park was the only option in today's gaming environment, it's definitely a struggle. People want to play games really, really fast. That's why the rec has such high popularity, because you just get a game right away. Ultimately what people want to do. All right. That having been said, let's actually get into the courtside report. So I'm not going to react to the video. He's just going over the features. Since we're on the blog here, we'll just go through it one by one. So number one, the auction house is back. They don't really go into detail, but let's see what they say. The auction house returns in NBA2K25 MyTeam, where you can auction off or acquire cards using MT. MT is here. A lot of people were afraid MT wasn't going to be here. I don't know if it was on Twitter or on here, but I thought MT would still be there. Although I will say, MT not being attached to the pre-order is a little concerning, that you don't get any MT at all whatsoever. That's unfortunate. Although, you know, it's not that big of a deal, because if you pre-order and you get VC, then you can obviously use that and it'll turn it one way or another. All right. No more exiting back to the MyTeam menus to retrieve your completed auctions or check on your bids. You can also, so let me see. It's been consolidated into a one-stop shop. So we got to see how this menu looks. But basically, they're just trying to make it all efficient, which is cool. Obviously, efficiency is always appreciated. Need more space. Earning more MyTeam rec will increase your auctions. That's interesting. So that's an incentive to play the game, because you can get more auction capacity by increasing your MyTeam rep. That's pretty cool. To ensure a level playing field, the returning has a zero tolerance policy on activity detrimental. So basically, they've upped their security. So this looks like they just needed time to up their security. They probably also needed money to up, because that's a feature that doesn't give them a return, right? So this could be a big reason that they gouged the community last year, because they were like, well, we have to pay for the security somehow, and it can't come out of the budget for the development of the game. It has to come from somewhere, because we want to continue to spend our resources on marketing and development. We don't want to add additional resources for security, so we'll get those resources by, you know, basically just squeezing it out of the community. That's speculation, but that's my personal suspicion. So we'll see. You know, we'll never know if that's the truth. And if I do find out that that's the truth, I can't tell you guys. So we'll have to speculate going forward. Okay, Triple Threat Park. Only available on new gen. 2K25 produces one of the biggest upgrades to my team in history. Triple Threat Park. Meet new friends face to face to team up or play against in new home, blah, blah, blah. Co-op multiplayer. It will be accessible on the new consoles and PC for the first time, yada, yada. It's funny. They really don't say much. They just say it's here. Triple Threat is a faithful remaster of 2K16 Rivet City. This is interesting, because if you're a MyTeam player, chances are you don't give a crap about Rivet City in 2K16. So it's funny, because the nostalgia, I think, is going to be missed on a lot of the MyTeam community. But maybe this is enticing to the park community. It should be, actually. I think this should be enticing to the park community, because if you want to learn a new position in park, it's way less expensive to try it with a card that represents that position than it is to build up an entirely new my player and possibly be wrong about what you want. So if you are a my career player, I do highly recommend that you invest some time into this part of the mode. Although the only thing that concerns me with this is, like, if it only gives you MT, then it's less enticing for park people because you don't really get anything out of it. It does help your season pass, so that's good, but you get VC from the park. And if you only get MT from the MyTeam park, it's kind of like a waste for a park person, because they're not building their character, right? Like, if you were to either play a low overall character with your friends or play your main character, you're building up VC for the next character. So I'm very curious if this will only reward MT, which is my suspicion, which de-incentivizes the park community. So that seems kind of strange. But I know it's a tough choice, because if it gives VC, then they have to give VC across the board, and then what's the point of MT? So it's interesting, because they're appealing to park nostalgia to the MyTeam community, but they're also not giving park people an incentive to actually play the mode, unless they literally just want to play MyTeam, which is a much smaller cross section that I am personally in. All right. The other 5 courts are, so 4 of these courts are for 2-player 3v3, where each person controls a 3-player lineup. So that's regular triple threat. The other 5 courts are for co-op games. So let's see, 4 for 3v3, 5 courts for co-op, for 6-player 3v3 co-ops. And 2 of these courts are designated as no squad courts. That's interesting. So there's only 2 no squad courts. So this is the only way. So this is what I'm talking about earlier with the matchmaking, right? If you want to play this mode and you only want to play your 1 card and you don't have friends, before you would go searching for a group in co-op, right? Whereas now you have to go wait and stand around. And technically before, if you didn't have a great card, people could back out. But I didn't see or hear of much backouts. I think people just wanted to play. But when you're sitting around and waiting, on those 2 no squad courts, if somebody gets on there, I'm just making extreme. If somebody gets on there with like Muggsy Bogues or Nate Robinson or something like that, people are not going to get on to lose and not going to trust you, even if you're cold with the card. They don't know that, right? They just know that you're playing a short point guard, that they're going to think you're a scrub. So they're going to get on. They're not in the matchmaking, right? So they see this midget point guard on the court and they go, I'm not playing with a midget point guard. And maybe they either, go to a different court and play 1 3v3, or they go back to, the new mode that's replacing unlimited or something like that. But essentially, this is not an efficient way for you to get games, to go to the court and wait around. And now that people can actually see your player, again, I don't know if they can see your win percentage, if they can see your rep, if they can see your season level, and this is, I don't know how, so because you guys in the MyTeam community have matchmaking, you don't know what a cowardly lot the 2K community is. Take it from me, and I'm a person who, most of my time playing this game, I wasn't a super good player. So I know what it's like on both sides. When you're not a good player, if you come in with a team, you can get games all the time because people think they have a chance to beat you. But I've also been on the other side where I am a good player, and people look at my win percentage and they see the purple plate, and you get a 3-game win streak and you start getting dodged. People will run around the whole park looking for games. And this is a community that's used to waiting, right? Like the rest of the community is used to getting games fast. The people who are in the park are used to waiting. So if they're going to wait around for a game, they want to wait around for a game they think they can win. So if you're on the court and that court's on fire and it's got a 5-game win streak, you're getting dodged. So now you got to start watching Netflix and YouTube while you wait for somebody to get on the court and finally play you, or you have to get off the court and break your win streak and find another court. So, that's why if you go to the park, you don't usually see super duper long win streaks on a regular basis. It's not because good players aren't good anymore. I think it's just because really good players don't en masse go to the park and look for win streaks, because it's not an efficient experience. They would rather go to Pro-Am and do that, or they'd rather go to Ante-Up where they can earn more VC. And I think in the MyTeam community that's not addicted to this mode, that's not super used to this mode, I think that the waiting around factor could be a problem, and the no squads is going to affect a lot of people, because if you're a MyTeam player, you probably don't have a ton of friends that you play with all the time. I know some of you do. I do, right? I know some people squad up and have regular folks that they run with in triple threat co-op, but it's obviously going to be much, much less common. MyTeam has primarily been a 1v1 mode up until this point. And so that 1v1 community is going to be less inclined to wait around and play in unfavorable matchups in a mode that they're not really into. So the lack of matchmaking, I'm very interested to see how the MyTeam community embraces this lack of matchmaking, when every single second that they're in this court and not playing, they're not earning MT and they're not making their team better, and they're not. Very curious to see how that all works out. Okay, exploring Triple Threat Park. Show off your MyTeam progress, your ranking from the last game. So this is what we talked about, as well as your first choice player card on your customized player panel as you walk around Triple Threat Park as your My Player. See, this sounds like a good thing, right? I did this, I did that, I'm so good. But what this really means is if you are by yourself on the Got Next, right? People will avoid you if you're playing the co-op parts, if you're a bad player. And if you're a good player, if you're on the Got Next, people will be happy to join you. But once you're on the court, people are going to look at you on their phone. They're going to look at your player panel and your player info from the phone, go, oh no, that team's really good, I don't want to play them. And, you know, they're going to avoid you, right? So this seems like a good thing, but it could be a really bad thing, because historically the 2K community is very cowardly when it comes to comp. Once you approach a court's open Got Next spot, your player will walk around the court, presenting your MyTeam cards, which then reveal the NBA players you will be controlling. Oh, that's interesting. So me personally, I'm looking forward to it to some degree, because even myself, I didn't play as much 3v3 last year. I spent a lot. I mean, I played some, but I spent a lot of my time in the rec, really getting my point guard skills down, my lockdown skills down. That was what I spent most of my time doing in the rec. Had a really good time doing it. Got a lot better at the game. Have a whole bunch of friends I play with that are all good and fun to play with, and that kind of stuff. A lot of them got better at the game too. I would be looking forward to this from the standpoint of enjoying the gameplay. I like triple threat gameplay or park gameplay, right? And would look forward to it. But even for myself, when I think about waiting around, part of me is just like, I don't know if I feel like waiting around anymore. Let's see. Express your style with your My Player across both My Career and MyTeam. That's interesting. You can now, so really they're trying to get you guys into My Career too, right? Because with your My Career, you could just make a My Career player just to walk around. But now it's kind of like, well, I've been playing triple threat. I have a My Career player. Why not go in with these friends that I've made in Triple Threat Park and go to My Career as well and give you guys another 50, 60 bucks for a new character. So, all right. And some people say it costs $100. Nobody takes their character to 99. Take your character to 85, and then you have to earn a lot of your VC of your character by playing. Not defending 2K, that's just math. That's not an opinion. A special triple threat feature, a special feature in Triple Threat Park is a showcase spot. If you step onto the showcase spot, you will open packs on a big billboard. If you obtain a high-powered player card, okay, so this is just, gambling bait. That's fine. It is whatever. For those of you who like it, congratulations. For those of you who aren't interested, we'll keep it moving. As an added bonus, the first time you use the showcase spot each day, you'll unlock 30 minutes of double rep for MyTeam rep. That's really interesting. So you use the showcase spot. So this entices everyone to use the showcase spot, no matter what. What do you do on here? You will open packs on a massive billboard. So wait a minute, you have to open packs? So you have to open packs to get double rep. Interesting. I don't really have an opinion on this, because this could be a shoe pack, right? So I have to see specifically what this is before I actually have an opinion on it. Because if it's like you have to open packs that you would have to pay for, if the auction house is good and playing the auction house and you know, possibly sniping and all of that stuff is a part of how you get cards, opening packs might be inefficient. And so now it turns into like a pay to play kind of thing. But I don't know. We'll have to see which packs. Because if badge packs and sneaker packs count, then this is no problem. Because you get packs from playing the game, right? But if it's specifically player packs that you have to open, I don't know how I feel about that. When you open packs, you pop, and we're gonna, you know, this is a big blog. We're gonna get into it, guys. It's been a while. We're gonna get deep into it. We're 20 minutes into the video. A shout out to everybody who is still here. Please like and subscribe if you have not already, and welcome back. All right. When you open packs, you go to the pop-up shop or the MyTeam store. I like the MyTeam store. I like that idea. The cards you obtain may be displayed live above your My Player. You can also show off. There's a lot going on. You can also show off your earned player cards by accessing your unopened packs menu from anywhere in the park. Once you open an award pack with a high-level player card, the card art will appear over your My Player's head. This could actually be pretty fun for pack openers as like a social thing. Never before, aside from actually literally being a content creator, have you been able to really share your stuff. So that's interesting that you can just literally go to the park to open packs. If you enjoy opening packs, I've never poo-pooed people who enjoy opening packs. It's just one of the many ways to open the game. I poo-poo the billion-dollar company for making it a gambling simulator and imbalanced economy. I don't poo-poo the players for enjoying opening packs, right? So if you enjoy opening packs, this could be a really nice feature just when you're like, hey, I'm going to go to the park and open up some packs. This could be something the community could enjoy. And in fact, I will say one thing, and this is like more the art side of me coming out. You know what? I'm looking at this area in the back. I was going to say I wish there was a more of an area to do that, but I think people are going to congregate right at the front of this building and open packs. And honestly, I think that could be pretty fun for the community. Actually kind of looking forward to it. Even though I'm not a big pack opening guy myself, I think that could be fun. Okay, Breakout. Breakout is a new mode that houses the revamped single player experience in MyTeam. Okay, this is very interesting. After selecting a starting difficulty, you will begin in the middle of Breakout City, surrounded by various arenas representing game modes, eras, and opponents that you choose to compete against. Your goal is to break out of the game board and earn your reward. Choose your direction to move in and compete in quick triple threat 3v3, clutch time 5v5, or a shortened 13 full card lineup game. Before starting the game, you can preview the game types and opponents. Discover the rewards available on the outer rim of the game board by unlocking the neighboring spot. So this basically takes what used to be kind of a chore on menus, and for the offline crowd, who, first of all, I want to give a lot of love to the offline crowd because I'm with y'all. I started out as a My Career guy, as a guy who did franchise modes, and I love sports games for the sports game. And there's still many a sports game that I play that way. I play UFC, I never have to go online. If I play FIFA, you better believe I'm literally just going to do the My Career and pop off. So I still enjoy the single player experience, and I don't think I don't like the idea that you have to be online playing unlimited, trying to beat ranked to be a real MyTeam player. Nah. Just playing the cards and enjoying collecting the cards and building a team and testing that team against the CPU. I totally value that experience. And I want you guys who value that experience to be represented well also. So I'm glad that there's something that just makes it a little more interesting to set up a day or a session of playing against the CPU. Stacks up some rewards, gives you a little board to interact with. We'll see how it plays out, but I do like that there's resources being poured into this. I like that a lot. As you explore each board, you'll play against a range of opponents, including current NBA teams, historic teams, and era-themed games such as 80s, 90s, love this, all-time teams, and theme teams of new collections released throughout the year. So great. So your challenges and all of that stuff are all going to be funneled into this mode where all of those teams can, make up different lineups that can keep it a little interesting. Wins earn prize points and progress in that direction on the board. In addition, each game has single objectives to earn extra prize points, which is great. These points are needed to unlock the reward spaces on the board, and the spaces with the best rewards require more prize points before you can play this. So there's going to be a little meta of how to build up the most prize points to get the most rewards from these boards. So that's pretty cool. As you move farther away from the center spot, the difficulty level goes up. Higher difficulties give more objectives, yada yada. So as it gets harder, as it gets more challenging, you get more stuff. And to get more stuff, you want to strategically set up the most amount of prize points, which we will most likely be doing videos breaking down the best strategies of doing that stuff, because I love that stuff. I don't know how many of you guys are offline mostly. I know there's a larger percentage because the offline community is kind of quiet, but I have seen a comment here and there. But let me know in the comment section if you're part of the offline community, offline boys stand up, and you know, we'll be getting into that to give you guys the best strategies for doing that. So this should be somewhat fun to get into. So both triple threat and clutch time games are now displayed in the House of Clutch Arena. So going back to this, so for me, I don't know if you guys are like me, but if I had a time like a quick grind or objectives, for me it was almost somewhat 50-50 to go online triple threat co-op, or triple threat offline. That's 30, right? Like it was like, which one do I feel like doing? Because they were all equally fast. Now that triple threat online could potentially be so much slower and go into the park, getting rewards from playing that could potentially be way less efficient if you have to wait around on the guy. Showdown. Showdown is new head-to-head multiplayer mode that draws inspiration from competitive modes of previous MyTeam years and will be replacing Unlimited. So this is important, right? This is the big boy. Games are played with 13 full card lineups and 4-minute quarters. Okay, before we move forward to single step, 4-minute quarters basically means I think we're going to see a lot more shorter rotation teams, especially early in the year when there's going to be less good cards. I think you're going to see the center have a backup, the PG is going to have a backup, and the middle three, the wings and the power forward, are probably going to rotate on a lot of 8-man rotations, because the fatigue in a 4-minute game is just not going to be nearly as impactful. Substitutions are not going to be nearly as impactful with you know, essentially 4 entire minutes missing out of the competition. So honestly, I wouldn't even be surprised if you see some 5-6-man lineups out there. Centers get tired fast, especially early in the year. So I think it's going to be smart to have a center. And depending on how fatigue affects shooting, you might want to have a second scorer. But for your low usage players, you can probably leave them out there all game. Now, I don't necessarily love that in a 5v5 NBA game. But that's what play now is for. You know, people will figure out what the meta is as far as that goes. But this is a significant change. 4-minute quarters does not require a 13-man rotation at all. A lot less strategy in a game that's that much shorter. Okay, the core, although I will say the benefit, you know, there are, you know, everything's a give and a take. 16-minute games are much quicker, and you'll get in games a lot faster and be able to run through it. So maybe that's not even a bad thing. So I'm not even saying it's good or bad. We have to see how it plays out, but I just wanted to highlight what that change might bring about. Core of this mode is a progression system across 15 tiers, where the primary goal is to win and get promoted. You will start at tier 15 and work your way up to tier 1 as you stack up wins. So it's much more of a ranked mode, it appears. 15 is a good number because basically you have your really bad players in the bottom 5, you have your average to decent players in the top 5, and then you have your decent players in the bottom, you know, in the top 4 of 5, and that tier 1 and 2 are really going to be where your good players are. And the great thing is, if you're low tier, you can once this gets going, you won't be playing sweats all the time, as long as there's no way to reset your tiers. That's the main thing. There can't be a way to reset your tiers. Once you're in a tier, you need to be once you are promoted to a higher tier, you cannot drop down a tier during the season. That's great, because one of the things in Unlimited that's really so bad is just the matchmaking. Matchmaking is terrible. Take it from a person who had a no money spent account. Count that. Never played anyone, and the first 3 people I played had like Wemby before Wembys were given out like candy. So they definitely need to work that out. And I think this actually makes Unlimited, or what it goes, Showdown, this makes Showdown much more approachable, because if you just give it a week, and then you go in, you're going to be playing against people in those lower tiers that are worse than you if the matchmaking is strict. Now that's the thing. The matchmaking has to, keep the tiers somewhat separate. I don't want to see a tier 15 person matched up with a tier 5 person. That's something we really, really have to keep an eye on, because if you're matched up with a tier 5 person, then what's the point of having tiers, right? Like that. And then your win-loss becomes random, because winning is supposed to get harder as you get better. So if one person is tier 1, but they face an average of tier 7 people, and another person is tier 1 and they face an average of tier 2 people because they live in an area where there's higher quality people, or they play at a time of day where there's higher quality people, then that's not the same skill level of person, right? So it has to be that you play your own rank. We have to see that. And I'm actually literally going to ask on Twitter if the matchmaking will be organized that way, because the way it is currently, it doesn't matter what rank you are. You can basically play anybody. You do play, once your matchmaking settles in at the top, you do play more good people more often. But the thing is, the lower ranked people are not shielded against the higher ranked people, and that defeats the entire point of having a rank system. Every Friday at 8 p.m. Pacific time, if you've gotten a few wins in the last week, you'll be able to choose a reward group based on the tier you are currently in. Love that. Incentive for the competitive players out there. Getting even more wins each week will upgrade these reward selections. Okay, so this looks like it stacks, and at the end of each 6-week season, you will drop a number of tiers based on where you ended the season, offering a fresh, so it resets like Overwatch every 6 weeks. Overwatch, your rank doesn't reset actually. You have to do your placements over again. So this is actually I think a mistake they're making, because this means at the end of every 6 weeks, you'll go through the reorganization of the ranks. Well, actually not totally. They say you'll drop a few tiers based on where you ended. Hopefully it's not too harsh. You want a soft, that's what they call a soft reset, right? A soft reset makes the seasons feel fresh without feeling like you're back on square one. It gives you something to do to build yourself. So if you were rank 1 and you dropped to rank 3 or 2, you build yourself back up. And if you were rank, if you elevated yourself to rank 7 from say rank 11, and you drop down to rank 9, you go back to 7, and you kind of, and the community gets more skilled over time. So this will continue to push players upwards as they get better. A hard reset, it would be a terrible idea, because you don't want friggin' Splash Edition being ranked 15 every 6 weeks. So every new season, you basically got to wait until the Splash Editions of the world play themselves out of your rank. You don't want to do that. So they have to handle that properly. And I have a lot of confidence 2K will do that, because they've always been so sharp. Showdown features an improved leaderboard that only considers games played between tier 1 players. I like that, because it puts an emphasis on the tier 1. And that, again, you want companies to pay attention to the top tiers, so that the lower tiers, which is more of the community, right? I know when everybody's talking, they're an expert, but your record is your record. Most of the community is not going to be tier 1. That's how rankings work. And so you don't want to be playing against these players on a consistent basis. You want to be playing against people closer to your skill level, so you can track your own improvement. That's what a ranked mode is supposed to be. After you target an amount of Showdown wins each week, you will qualify for our new competitive mode, King of the Court. Okay, so Showdown is where you stack up your kind of, not casual wins, but your kind of, regular season wins, as it were. Let's get into King of the Court. King of the Court is an exclusive event held every Saturday from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. Pacific time, starting on September 14th. To qualify, okay, so this happens after the first couple of weeks the game's out. To qualify, you must meet certain qualification thresholds. Actually, the first 10 days, because it comes out September. To qualify, you must meet certain qualification thresholds in either the new Showdown or Triple Threat Park modes. Interesting. Park counts for this. Or earn an automatic qualification by rising up the MyTeam rep tiers. So there's other things you can do in the game. You can, I guess, maybe offline stuff you can do. After each King of the Court game, you will earn a game score based on your performance. If you lose 3 games, your time in that Saturday King of the Court will be over. So this is a true tournament-based mode. Interesting. Right, let's read more before we judge it. Your final game score each Saturday will be ranked amongst all competitors in groups representing the top 50%, top 10%, top 1%. Ultimate number one king of the court. The group you finish in determines which of the tiers you receive. These rewards are some of the best rewards in MyTeam. Your accomplishments, the most recent king of the court, will also, okay, so, and then your accomplishments will be displayed. So this mode depends entirely on the matchmaking and how your tiers from Showdown affect your matchmaking here. That's the thing that really counts here. If your Showdown accurately places you, then this will be fine. Here's the problem. If this is just random matchmaking, and again, let's just say you happen to live down the street from Splash. So what happens is you're going to face Splash if it's just matchmaking, right? Like regular old matchmaking. And you're going to lose. That's going to be an auto loss for you, right? Unless you're in the extremely small group of people that can compete with him, that's an auto loss. So now you only have 2 games versus people of your skill level or lower to lose before your time is over. And that's just completely random, right? That's just luck of the draw. That's not skill. You want this always to be determined by skill. Now, conversely, if you live in an area where people aren't good at the game, I'm not going to name any areas because I don't want to get hate messages from you guys, but let's just say hypothetically, you know, Bubba Woods, Lansing of Wakanda, right, is your neighborhood. That's your city and your region. And the people in Bubba Woods don't really play a whole lot of 2K. They're super casual out there. So you go on there and you win every single game because it's just matchmaking. It's not based on your Showdown tiers very closely. Then you get to be way higher in these ranks just because of where you live and what the matchmaking is. They can't do that. It has to be based off tiers. You want it to be based off of skill. Your final game score each Saturday will rank blah, 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 blah. Yeah, okay, we read that. So challenges. So I'm going to go through this real quick. Long story short, they made the challenges screen much more efficient, right? Much more faster to get into it. MyTeam rep. Okay, so we've been hearing a lot about this rep system, so let's go ahead and get into it. MyTeam rep. NBA2K25 introduces a rep system to MyTeam. Rep serves as a year-long measure of success and does not reset like the 40 levels each season. Interesting. There are 11 levels of MyTeam rep rewards, represented by the familiar MyTeam gem colors from bronze to dark matter. The MyTeam rep menu also features leaderboard at the top 10 rep players, designated by logos and other stuff. These logos, regardless of if you are in the top 10 or making progress, will appear beside you throughout MyTeam. So there is kind of a soft ranking system, at least just based on how much you play. Let's see, you'll earn rep by completing games and challenges, and there will be 2 times rep events to give you a boost. You'll feel the progression of your team as you rise up the ranks in your MyTeam journey this year. So basically, this is almost like a soft MyGM element to this, right? Where everything you do in the mode, I think, contributes to your rep. Each time you rep up, you'll unlock new rewards, including access to the auction house, expanded My Auction capacity, which we talked about before, returning rewards like the stupid Fireball and MyTeam Coliseum, regularly released packs, and an exclusive GOAT Jason Tatum player card by reaching the Dark Matter tier. So I imagine this is very difficult to get to the Dark Matter tier. There's probably going to be a race to that in which you'll have to be simultaneously a good competitive player and a grinder to really get this stuff. At the end of July, those who are ranked in the MyTeam top 10 as invincible or GOAT level players will receive the ultimate rewards related to 2K26. I actually really like this. This is something for the grinders, right? Like this is, to me, this is way better than collector level, because collector level has no purpose outside of the collector level reward. Whereas this, there's rewards all year. It definitely favors the grinders, but it also gives the grinders motivation to compete as well, because this is the overall MyTeam sweats, not just the Showdown / unlimited sweats, not just triple threat sweats, not just auction house grinders, right? Not just card collectors, but global MyTeam sweats. this is for you guys. Shout out to y'all. I will watch your journey from the sidelines because I'm definitely not going to be anywhere near a dark matter books Nelson by the end of the year. I'm going to enjoy the mode at my own pace, do what I always do, collect my favorite cards, build up my team, try to learn the cards, and break down the cards for you guys, play some online, play some offline, and I encourage you guys to enjoy the game the way you prefer as well. But for those of y'all true grinders, I'm looking at you, Carlo. I want to see y'all in this goatee. I want to see how this race turns out. Getting started. Listen, nobody cares about this. I'm not going to read it. Basically, you know, the garbage that you get at the beginning of the game. New menus and UI. We'll see it when we see it. Let's see. Okay, so there's so basically they just streamline the UI. Again, we'll see that when we see it. So here are more tidbits about what to expect in 2K25. So let's go ahead. Lineups, management, and coaching. Legend badges, the new tier of badges above Hall of Fame, are available in MyTeam. Yep, cool, sounds good. Shoe boosts have been replaced with takeover cards. Interesting. Don't know how much I like that. I really like the shoe cards, actually. Because it made your character look different. I used to put Converses on the old players and, you know, put LeBrons on LeBron, you know what I'm saying? Right? Like, so anyway, customize your shoe. Okay, shoe boot, but customize your shoe cards with any of your owned takeover cards. And equip. Okay, so it's fine. So it's still the same thing. It's just takeover and not attributes. Interesting. Some coach cards may now boost both your lineups, badges, and attribute ratings. Look for more powerful options throughout the year. Okay, yeah, coaches are the same. Coach boosts are now more obvious within. Okay, coach settings now support customizing. Okay, this we love. Finally, a AAA game allows me to save my settings. Oh my God. I really feel like I'm rewarding like a straight A student for spelling their name right on it. Like, oof, thank you, 2K. Thank you. I'm gonna just say thank you. We're not gonna look at the past. Next play. Don't play backwards, right? Next play. Good job, 2K. Some free agent limited use player cards now have a variety of game limits beyond just 5 games. I don't know. I've been able to just completely ignore free agent cards my entire MyTeam existence, which dates back to I think 2K20 or 19. So I'm not sure how I feel about MyTeam free agent cards being more of a thing. We'll see. You can now update all of your lineups, uniforms, courts, and logos by apply to all lineups. That's cool. A new filter has been added when replacing cards in a lineup, showing the most recently added cards in your collection. That's cool too. Card collecting. Collector challenges now primarily count cards that are locked in. Interesting. New in NBA 2K25, you can choose to lock in player cards individually, including ones that you do not have a collection complete reward. Okay, so now collector is to locking. You have to actually collect them. I'm not mad at it because collecting is supposed to be its own thing. And if you're collecting, you can't simultaneously be a collector and also be somebody that's playing for efficiency. Collecting is inherently inefficient. And so leaning into that and specializing the collectors, I think it's fine. For those of us who were just, making lineups and stuff like that, we have to move and shake assets in that kind of quasi MyGM way. I'm not mad. The exchange has received an overhaul, allowing for more flexibility when adding player cards, more categories to easily find the exchanges. Okay, this is cool because sometimes finding things was definitely annoying. When you unlock Ascension picks, you can now select multiple picks on the board and flip them at the same time rather than one by one. That's cool. I don't know if I'm gonna do that, but that's cool. My psychic powers don't work that way. You guys don't know, but I'm actually the greatest Ascension board player of all time. And if I flip them all at the same time, it interferes with the way spirits get me the best reward as soon as possible every time. I'm gonna still be flipping one by one. Most single card award packs will now automatically open when they are rewarded. Okay, that's fine. Event cards, man. I still want them to reduce the animations on all of this stuff. And here they just, there's so many ways to play the game. We didn't do nothing wrong. Don't look behind the curtain. We didn't. All right. So in any event, I will say this. Before we shut it down here. Triple Threat Park and Learn 2K are only available in NBA 2K25. If last gen plays decently, I think last gen triple threat online and triple threat online co-op is going to low key be a necessary thing for people who want to grind online rewards. If you don't feel like sweating it out in Showdown and King of the Court or whatever, but you also don't feel like waiting, you are going to need to fire up last gen if you want to get into those quick matchmaking games in triple threat online and triple threat co-op. So you heard it here first. Welcome back to all of my viewers. I appreciate the support, you guys. I told y'all 10 toes down. We are going super hard when this stuff comes out. I'm very much looking forward to it. And I'm glad for the much needed break. I didn't cover any of the other news because it didn't. I'll cover my career when we get like real news, but everything that's been coming out has been kind of like partial, like high speculation. And the community has been absolutely eating itself alive as they are desperate for news for a game they allegedly hate. So I just figured, you know what? Let me use this time. I'm going to play some Diablo, which I am fantastic at, by the way. Just absolutely destroyed an Uber boss yesterday. Won't bore you guys with the details. Trust me. Love that game. But yeah, I've been using this time I've been playing some shows with my band and really just resetting. That's the main thing for me. I wanted to get away from the game long enough to reset, come to 2K25 fresh and curious, and most importantly, without any of the resentment. Because the thing for me, as always, we want to elevate the conversation, and that does not require us to be angry and emotional to call out 2K on wrongdoing. I can call you out on wrongdoing without insulting you. I can call you out on wrongdoing without yelling at you and all of that stuff. I just want to call it out. And I also don't need the fire in my belly from what you did last year. Call out what you're doing this year. And that's how we're going to play it. New year, we're not going to forget last year. We're also not going to hold on to it. At least not on this channel until they repeat those mistakes. And that's going to be it for me, Books Nelson. Glad to be back. I will see you guys in the next one. Lots to come this year, so please like and subscribe if you have not already. And if you have, thank you for your support as always. Peace.